Can we bring up Philly.500? There we go. All right.
Phil, Big Phil, what's up?
What do you make of that proposal?
I didn't hear the proposal. What was it? I was playing around with my AirPods. What was the proposal? Mark Holmes for a bunch of chickens? What is it?
Wait till he hears this one. Okay. If he doesn't bail, Packers will get CeeDee Lamb. The Cowboys will get Christian Watson, a 2025 first rounder, a sixth rounder in 25, and then a fourth rounder in 2026.
I would do it if I was Dallas. I like Watson, good player. You need a first-round pick. Because obviously Dallas is in win-now mode. They're looking to rebuild. We all know what they're really trying to do here. So what a way to start it. I would do that if I was Dallas. Then I'd turn around and I'd trade Dak. And I'd get another first. I'd load up on first-round picks. Why not? You ain't going nowhere. They ain't going nowhere.
How about this, man? How about this? I mean, don't you think that this is one of the reasons why the Lamb deal has taken so long here? We're now 16 days out from the Eagles starting. We're right around. We're 2 weeks out from the start of the season, and the only reason that you would be waiting on this deal, this is not about money. Since when has money ever been an issue with the Dallas Cowboys, man? I mean, money's never been an issue. So this has to be their fielding offers.
Yeah, well, it goes back to when we talked in the offseason about, remember, you brought up Michael Irving in the plan, and I thought it made a lot of sense. Dallas seems like they would like to blow this thing up and start over. It just seems that way. You had Dak Prescott under contract. You didn't even renegotiate his contract so you'd free up cap space. They've done nothing to help this team. It just seems like they can't. It's like they can't publicly just blow it up without backlash. But if you could set yourself up to go into the season and fail, then you have a reason to. It's like Major League Baseball, right? Made the movie. That's what, like, Jerry Jones is that chick on there. That's what he is. He's trying to blow it up. That's what I think, anyways. I was looking at their schedule today. They're gonna start 2-5, something like that. They're in trouble. They're in big trouble.
Cowboys are gonna start 2-5, you say?
I think so. Look at their schedule. It's kind of they got some tough games early. You got no CeeDee Lamb, right? He's missed off camp. So what's he going to report week 1? Well, how many snaps is he going to get week 1? You got to play Cleveland. That's a loss. Then you still got to play the Ravens. You got to play the Niners. You got to play the Lions. They're done. Stick a fork in them.
Let's bring in Mark Holmes here, and we bring in our friend. And before you get going, Mark, I want to.
Mark, where are you going? Are they putting you in? Are they committing you in the hospital yet?
No, man. Listen, unlike some people, anytime, anywhere, I'm gonna show up. Okay, so I'm on the road.
You have to show up. You're under contract.
I'm not under no goddamn contract.
You signed a 5-year deal.
Okay, if I'm under contract, then I've been missing the check. I'm missing the check.
You have to take that up with them, but you're under contract.
Okay.
You don't show up.
As far, look, I'm just I'm a glutton for punishment. I just come in here because I'm a sadist and just, enjoy getting my ass kicked because that's all that happens here.
Mark, I have something that just came down the pike to Big Sills here. Ready?
Okay.
It's a trade for Lamb. Here.
Okay.
Here. The Green Bay Packers would get CeeDee Lamb. The Cowboys would get Christian Watson, a 2025 first rounder, a sixth rounder, and in 26 you would get a fourth rounder for CeeDee Lamb.
Good. That's a lot.
That's a lot. If you do that, then basically you don't sign Dak then either. You just say we're just starting the fuck over. So to me, Dak and CD they're hooked at the hip. So who knows? You know Stephen Jones better than I do. I have no idea what they're doing.
The deal's been offered, but the Cowboys, this is why the Cowboys have not signed him, is because they are waiting and they're listening and entertaining offers. Now, I think it's got to blow their mind for them to move him. I don't think they're just going to go, hey, here's a first and a seventh. That's not going to work for that, but they're going to want a player back because let's just say they do move off of Dak and they want to try to get Shador. Well, dude, you got to have something left for next year.
You're going to need to definitely move up to get secure. I mean, even without CD, regardless of what Philly.500 says, they're going to start out 2-7. Even if that's the case, you're still, 2-5 in the first 7. You're still going to win some games going down the stretch. The defense is going to be a lot better than what people think, and the Cowboys would still be a 500 team somewhere around the middle of the road, and that's still not going to get you up there to get secure. You're going to have to trade up to get them, and so basically, you're still screwed because either you're going to go ahead and get a quarterback or you're still going to need to replace a wide receiver. And so you're actually in a worse position, at least in my mind. But then again, what do I know?
Let's move on here and go like this and ask you, Philly, if you had to pick one Philadelphia Eagle you think is going to have a great year, outside of Hurts, who would that be?
Outside of Hurts or the big stars, because I think there's a lot of guys. But, of course, Saquon, of course, A.J. Brown. I'll say Devontae Smith. I think Devontae Smith has a career year this year. I think he's going to have a monster year.
Mark, if you had to pick one Dallas Cowboy to have a superstar year this year, outside of Prescott, who would it be?
I'm actually going to say Micah Parsons for a couple of reasons. One, there seems to be a little bit of a change for Micah Parsons after the Malik Hooker kind of threw him under the bus about the podcast and things. He seems to be taking on more of a leadership role. You see him out there running after practice with Mozzie Smith and Osa and Digazua. You see him being more of a leader on there. And I think the Cowboys' defensive front is going to be better. The way Dan Quinn is going to, the way Mike Zimmer is going to use him, he is going to be close to that 20-sack potential.
Let's go to this one now. Hey, Philly, did you have a problem today with Jalen Hurts saying this? I posted it on my Twitter page at Dan Silio Show, by the way. Hurts was asked the question about, is he okay not playing the veteran guys going into the final? All good with Jeffrey, Mr. Laurie, and what Howie wants. And then he threw Nick in there just to be politically correct. Are you okay with the front office making calls on who plays and who doesn't play? You didn't want to play your offensive guys because of all the money being over there. You're okay with the defensive guys. You got a front office that's making calls on whether or not your players should play. What other decisions are they making that get in the way of coaching here, man? I got a problem with it. Do you?
Yeah, I do have a problem with it. This is one of the things that drive me crazy that they continually do. I mean, even if you look at the deal they have when they hired Sirianni, is that the last 3 roster spots on the final 53-man cutdown, Howie Roseman has final say. So instead of saying, here's a guy that's been great in camp, it's going to all be determined by the contract and what they're doing. So this is something, though, that they've done for a long time. It's like you kind of get used to it in a weird way, and I don't like that. But, yeah, I don't like it. I don't think they should be making those decisions. I think the coaches should.
Mark, how about this? Do you finally agree that the Dallas Cowboys are now conceding that Mozzie Smith wasn't the right pick with that deal they made for the Giants to bring in a brand new defensive tackle because they need to stop the run? And I don't know, man. Every time I hear them talking about Mozzie Smith, I feel like they're talking about a 5th rounder.
Bro, are you thinking that one defensive lineman is all you need for the whole year? Is that what you're actually saying?
No, I'm thinking that they've made a decision that this guy's not going to be the guy that they thought to be able to soar up the middle of that defense.
You are going to eat your words because, laugh all you want. This is all I'm here for is comic relief. So when I'm right, I want you to come back and say, God damn, Mark, you were spot on him. What they're doing with Mozzie is they're actually having him more of a 3 technique. They are working with him. That, laugh all you want. That guy is the first guy on the field and the last guy off the field working. And that coach is working with his hands and really getting him to get his body in good position. What's going to happen with Jonathan Phillips is he's going to be the one technique nose guard. And laugh all you want. But see, here's the thing. The Cowboys had a problem last year of being too light in the ass. If you look at your Dante Fowlers, if you look at your Hankins was old, your defensive line, because of Dan Quinn's philosophy, was having guys that are pass rushers. Mozzie was never a pass rusher in college. He was a run stopper. And so what they're getting is they've evolved that defensive line to bigger personnel, and they're going to have a rotation in there. One great defensive lineman, that's not enough. Come on.
Mark's hypocrisy knows no bounds.
How about this, Mark? Are you on your way to the Improv in Dallas? Is that what you're doing when you make proclamations like Lazy Smith is going to be a guy that I'm going to eat my words on? You must be the opening act for your favorite comedian, Joe Rogan. That's a shot. It's all good. Hey.
Okay. I hear you talking.
Hey, wait. No, I mean, you must be playing the comedy club, dude. You know that guy has not shown one bit of promise yet.
It was one season, bro.
Jordan Davis did not play well his rookie year, and I watched him, and I still would go like this. Hey, okay, he's still a first rounder. I look at Mozzie Smith, and you know what I think? He's a turd. Hey, Philly. He's a turd.
I love his excuses for Mozzie. You can't mess with Mozzie Smith. That's Mark's second child. Well, Dak's his first child. That's his firstborn. But Mozzie is quickly becoming his second child because every other video now, besides if it's not about Dak, it's about Mozzie Smith. But all the things that he brings up about Mozzie Smith, and he's a run guy, he's not a pass rusher. These are the same things that he trashed Jordan Davis about, that he had no problem complaining about. But now it's okay because it's Mozzie Smith. Both were first-round picks. So I hold them to the same standard. Mark's full of it.
Oh, man. Ooh. Dude, 5 wins. Dude, you have the worst running back room in the league. Everyone is saying it. The worst running back room in the league you have.
And when the Cowboys are better than the Eagles this season, I don't want you to be like typical Eagle fans that don't show up, okay? When the Cowboys play well this year, come back and say, I was wrong. I was wrong.
Mark thinks CeeDee Lamb. He said CeeDee Lamb's having 2,000 yards this year.
He thinks who?
No.
2,000 yards.
No, this is how crazy. See, this is how you take stuff out of context.
He said 2,000 yards, Mozzie.
Listen to me. When Stephen Jones says he wants to see, after they pay CeeDee Lamb, have 12 to 15 touches, if you work out the numbers, that's 197 touches, which would be 2,500 yards, which would be freaking insane.
Yards. I'm sorry, not 2,000.
It's not going to happen. But literally, Herein lies the problem with the Cowboys, where Stephen Jones says a guy who was getting about 10 touches a game, now we want to see him with 5 more. It's like, dude, are you crazy?
Wait, Mark, I think there's going to be 3 receivers this year over 1,800 yards because of the way the league is and because of the hip drop tackle not being involved in tackling any longer. I think you're going to see a bunch of guys with big numbers this year because tackling has become a priority now with different ways on getting guys on the ground. You take that hip drop, that's one of the keys for secondary people to get people, and it's going to affect a lot of the numbers here. Speaking of numbers, Mark, I want to show you something here, and this goes to Philly and his boy Hurts. BetMGM, the most touchdown passes this year in the league, and here are the odds for the quarterbacks that lead the league in touchdown passes. Number 1, Mahomes, plus 550. Number 2, Dak Prescott, plus 750. Number 3, and tied with 3, is C.J. Stroud and Jordan Love at plus 1,000. You have number 4, you have Joe Burrow at plus 1,100. Brock Purdy at plus 1,200. And Josh Allen. At 6, you have Rodgers at plus 15. And also, you have Golf at plus 1,500. And then you have Cousins at plus 1,500. Can you win a Super Bowl with a quarterback that doesn't throw for 30 touchdowns in a season?
Yes, of course you can.
Name me one.
I don't really need to do that.
You listen. I don't need to name you one. All I have to do is go back and say the Eagles became one drive away from winning the Super Bowl when Hurts did it.
No. That's that. But
so,
Philly,
he did. Okay.
You're telling me that he can't be in position to win.
I'm telling you, it's not happening.
I'm telling you,
No, I don't think it's going to happen. I don't think it's going to happen. But
It
here's
could
the thing with the Cowboys offense. You literally just said the Cowboys offense, as far as running the football, is one of the worst in the NFL, which is really Mike McCarthy's thing. Mike McCarthy is not a big run guy. That's the misnomer that you guys have. It's kind of like taking out the trash and being a husband. Nobody likes to take out the trash, but, I kind of have to take it out. And so Mike McCarthy's thing is tight ends and passing the ball around to the wide receivers and having multiple targets that are out there. Now, CD Lamb is traded. Well, you can go ahead and say, start figuring out who your next coach is going to be, because it's all going to go through CD Lamb. But you have to look at Jalen Tolbert that's out there that's playing well. Brandon Cooks is actually a really good one. And you've got some other young guys along with
that's
Jake
not going
Burton.
to win you. That's not going to win you the NFC East, naming those dudes.
No, but if you got a better defense that stops the other team.
Okay, hey, Philly, why do you think that a quarterback that doesn't throw for 30 touchdowns can win a Super Bowl, or like around 30 touchdowns?
Well,
guy hangs around 22, 23 touchdowns.
Sills, because I watched the guy be one drive away from doing it. So
you think Hurts is better than Vic and Cam Newton?
Do I think he's better than Vic?
Was he a better athlete, a better quarterback than those two guys?
I mean, Vic is one of the best athletes I've ever seen.
How about Cam? Cam got to a Super Bowl, won an MVP.
Wait. Let me ask a question. So wait a minute.
Here's the whole
Billy,
thing.
are you predicting the Super Bowl win this year?
You're judging a guy. You're saying that a guy that doesn't throw 30 touchdowns do it. I'm saying a guy literally came one drive away, which had nothing to do with how many touchdowns he threw during the regular season. That had nothing to do with it. So if you're going to sit there and tell me that if there's not 4 more minutes left in that game or whatever, Hurts don't go down the field and score, I don't believe you. I do believe a guy can throw 30 touchdowns. Maybe it hasn't happened, but I do think it's possible. Yes.
You're right in that moment, but this is why I think it's not consistent. Where you can't do that.
Let me tell you something. He's not going to be.
Last year,
he's throwing 30 touchdowns this year. You know that, right?
Last year he was nowhere near the Super Bowl.
Yeah, but so what? He was 2 years ago.
The point is,
when
you're one of those elite quarterbacks, you're around the rim all the time.
What I'm saying, Sills, is he was in a position where he was one drive away from winning the Super Bowl, arguably the best player on the field that game. So what I'm saying is whether he threw 30 touchdowns or not had no bearing on whether or not
he'll never be consistent Super Bowl contender with that style of play. Ever.
Well, I don't. First of all, I don't buy the narrative that he's not throwing 30 touchdowns this year. But if we're going to say just in general, can a guy win a touchdown without throwing 30 touchdowns? Yeah, I think it's possible. I do.
Is it likely?
What about you?
I think you got to be able to pass the rock. And going by BetUS, I love it because Jalen Hurts over and under is 21.5. Dak Prescott's 29.5. Yeah.
Great. That's great. Dak Prescott could throw 30 touchdowns. But
see, here's the difference.
It comes down to the same thing all the time. What does he do in the playoffs?
Billy,
all you care about is what he does. What does Dak Prescott do in the playoffs? He chokes.
I believe he asked me the question, and it's my chance to answer.
No, I don't think so.
Now, you go through and you say, that he was one drive away. When you looked at the defense that you had before versus the defense that you had last year and the defense I believe that you have this year are two different things. Now, granted, you got some great pieces and everything else, and you still didn't do it. For my Cowboys, I look at this and say, we're in the second year of this offense, which will make it better. And you have to understand.
The second year of this offense. You're in year 10 of this offense.
No. We got rid of Kellen Moore, and we changed a lot of things, bro. Here's the thing. We were number one scoring offense with not a great, with a middle-of-the-road running attack. Right or wrong?
No,
right or wrong?
What's that?
Last year, we were the number one scoring offense with a middle-of-the-road running
and
game.
Now you have a worse running game.
Yeah, but our running game wasn't what got us there, bro. Tony Pollard barely got to 1,000 yards. We're not going to have as much a drop off the running game as you think.
If you think that your team's going to go out and be successful when you have lack of running game the way you have it. Last year, at least the teams were at least worried about Pollard. They were somewhat concerned about it. Yes, they were.
Tony Pollard,
teams were.
Nobody was scared of our running game last year.
Pollard was good enough to keep them honest. He was good enough to keep the defense
Tony Pollard was literally scared to run up the middle, bro.
And now you have nobody's scared of Zeke. Nobody's scared of your run game. You're too one-dimensional. And your best receiver's not even in camp. I watched Mark's video last week. They're just crossing the I's and crossing the T's and whatever. He's going to be there soon. Where the hell is he? Sills, where is he?
No. Here, I have to answer a question because Prince said that means Josh Allen's not elite. Well, here's the last 5 years of Allen. 29 touchdown passes, 35, 36, 37. 4,300, 4,200, 4,500, 4,600 passing yards. So we're not talking about a guy who throws 23 touchdowns. By the way, Mark, the over-under also with Hurts is 35, 25 in passing yards.
Plus you can't just take away Hurts' ability to run the ball and score rushing touchdowns.
But your own team is.
And I'm not just talking about
what if.
I'm saying in the past. I'm saying in the past.
What if he can't run? Because you can't keep up being a great running quarterback forever.
I expect his running numbers to come down, and I expect his passing numbers to go up. I expect Hurts to throw 30 touchdowns. The biggest bet in the world is if it's over under 21, take the over. Because he's throwing way more.
Philly, let me ask you something. Do you think Jalen Hurts was drafted to be a passer or a dual threat guy?
I think he was drafted at the time, honestly, to be a backup. I think he surprised Howie Roseman and everybody that he was going to be. I'm not sure what they brought him in as. But I'm sorry. If you think and you're going to tell me that he somehow cannot develop into a better passer, I disagree with all of you. I think Jalen Hurts can develop into a better passer, and I think he's getting better. So why do we assume that Jalen Hurts
where did you see him getting better?
On all camp, look at him. Look at him all camp. Look at the camp he's had. He looks faster. He looks better. He looks more decisive in his throws. Better offensive coordinator. He's got a running back in there now that can play. Got a better offensive line.
You're putting a lot in the camp.
And he's healthy.
You're putting a lot in the camp and what Kellen is bringing.
That's all I can see.
No. I'm not disputing it, dude. Hang on here. I'm not. All I'm saying is.
What's funny? What's funny is I remember last year in training camp when they were going through, they were talking about how many passes Hurts was throwing without interceptions. And what happened last year with the interceptions? What happened?
Wait, say that, rewind.
Last year, because last year everybody was counting every interception Dak Prescott had in training camp, right? And they were talking about how good Jalen Hurts, how many throws he was doing without turnover.
No, that's not fair, Mark.
No,
he didn't have a good camp.
No,
he didn't have
every training camp practice last year, he was good for 80%, and then it was he threw an interception. He missed the throw.
That's fair.
He missed.
That's fair.
Okay.
He did not have a strong camp like he's had now. And by the way, I'll say this to you, Mark. I'm warming up to this thing with Moore. I think Moore's doing a lot with this motion stuff, and I think it's helping him be able to learn how to find landmarks out there. And by the way, to Philly's point, I think when you hear players talking about him being a smarter ball player, even Patrick Mahomes says every year he's becoming a smarter quarterback because Andy Reid is teaching him more about how to read defenses. So I think you can become a smarter player by learning how you can read defenses. I think Jalen Hurts came in as one of the absolute worst quarterback progression readers that started in the NFL in 2021. Has he evolved into something better? Yeah, he's better at it now. Now, Philly's taken what Vic Fangio says is not real football practice. And because remember, those are teaching tools. Those aren't real football. And that's from Vic Fangio's mouth. 9-on-7 and 7-on-7.
I get that that's not real. I get that that's not real football. But if you still look at what he's doing and what he's had accomplished in camp compared to last year, there seems to be an improvement. So there's a lot of reason for optimism, and we won't know until he gets into a game. I agree with you, but I don't see how any Eagle fan can sit out there right now and not be optimistic that Jalen Hurts is not going to have a monster year.
Here's the problem. Here's the problem with Kellen Moore, though. Okay, Kellen Moore will have some great play designs. He really will. The thing about Kellen Moore, and we always talk about Dak chokes and everything else, when you get to crunch games, some of those really bad ones, no, hold on. Just see, it's funny is how you just poo-poo everything, but it'll come back full circle.
I don't believe it. I don't believe it.
You know what? The wise person out there actually will listen to other people and actually
I've
think
heard
about
it, Mark.
things they say.
I've heard it
but no,
100,000 times.
Listen to me,
I can
bro.
finish your sentence.
The two best things that the Dallas Cowboys were doing with Kellen Moore was 12 personnel and moving the pocket with Dak Prescott. Dak Prescott was a great quarterback on the move outside the pocket. When we get into the playoffs, playing teams like the 49ers, those things just don't get called. They just disappear. And I think that it's kind of like Jason Garrettism, where kind of pisses down his leg.
Yeah, let me ask you something, Mark. Let me ask you something. How did Kellen Moore do with Dak when it came to picking up zero blitzes? How did Dak handle zero blitzes because that has been a priority in this camp? Because obviously last year, towards the end of the season, teams were blowing him up he was the third most blitz quarterback, and he just could not. Yeah. Could that have him and Kelsey not been on the same page? Maybe. But how did Kellen Moore handle zero blitz with Dak?
He was pretty good with that because, Dak, I mean, here's the thing that's kind of crazy is I think about how with our offensive line has been constantly evolving and changing. Biotic literally getting pushed literally in his lap. But Dak Prescott, with him, he actually did pretty good with the zero blitzes on him. And again, the thing that helped the Cowboys even more after getting rid of Kellen Moore was speeding up the offense to get the ball in his hands quicker.
All right. I'm going to ask one last question.
I got to say something. I'm not convinced it's Kellen Moore in crunch time. We'll have to see, because I think that when you've taken Kellen Moore out of the Dallas Cowboys offense, this crunch time problems, they're still there. It hasn't changed at all.
Turnovers
Dak
dropped.
Prescott is the guy.
Turnovers dropped with the worst running game.
Oh, listen, you went out there a number 2 seed versus 7 seed, and Dak looked like crap. You can't blame Kellen Moore for that. So
hold on. Wait.
You're choking continues. Okay?
I'm not taking that because nobody looked good in that game.
Oh,
nobody.
Come on. You were looking for Super Bowl tickets. Your boy Dak Prescott, when he had first pass it again.
He made
how come
mistakes,
CeeDee
but
Lamb
nobody on that team.
Because all the stuff
Nobody
season
was ready to play.
Yeah, right. Well, that's what you say for 9 years. Oh, nobody looked good. Nobody looked good.
Bro,
it starts with your quarterback.
Bro, as you're killing my quarterback, hold on. As you're killing my quarterback, what happened to your boys against Tampa Bay, bro?
My team was done. They checked out after Arizona.
Started the season with the Dallas Cowboys are a Super Bowl
everybody in the world who
like
never
they
watched
did
football
with
knew
you,
the Eagles
bro.
weren't winning that game. They choked. The whole team was done. Hurts included. They were all done. We all know
wait
that.
a minute, hold on.
Your boy
How
for
is it that
9
you
years.
You're
blaming Kellen Moore
and I
for
can't.
choking when your quarterback
I can't say that my whole team didn't choke. That Micah Parsons, he showed up and played lights out. D-Law, he played lights out.
Listen,
Tony
when
Pollard,
you needed
he played
your
lights
franchise
out.
quarterback,
It was just because of Dak Prescott. Come on, man. stop
and you
with the
need your
same
big-time
stupid ass
franchise.
Okay,
bullshit
okay,
narrative
okay.
that you have.
Difference is
I'm
that
sorry.
my guy has been to a Super Bowl.
Why-
My guy
why
has
do I-
played
Why do
at
I
the highest
do
level.
this stupid
Your guy
shit?
has
Wait.
never played good at a high level. You got to take the medicine. Take your medicine.
Take the
Take
medicine.
it. That's right. Take it. You're choking
Take
medicine.
this
You're being
motherfucker.
choked.
Fuck you.
Take
Fuck
it.
you.
Take
Hey, wait a minute.
Fuck
Mark,
you,
Take
man.
that medicine.
Mark,
Take
before you go,
Take that medicine.
has camp changed anything?
Drink it, swallow it, that mother humper.
Has camp changed anything to move you off the fact that you think that the Cowboys are a 11-12 win football team?
No, actually, here's the thing with the Cowboys that I'll say is the Cowboys to have a successful season, we're going to have to thread the needle. They were going to need a lot of things to go right. You were going to need Diggs to be able to come back healthy. That's the first thing. And it looks like he's going to be ready to go for week 1. You were going to need Overshown to come in and actually look like a linebacker, even though he didn't have actually a rookie year because he was injured. He looks healthy, and he looks like an absolute beast. And you're going to need your 2 offensive linemen to be able to replace Biotish and to replace Tyron Smith. And at the moment, those 2 guys look like hell on wheels, man. Those guys look like absolute positive beasts. The Cowboys may have the great train robbery here, but trading back, getting Tyler Guyton, and then with that extra pick, getting Cooper Beebe. You don't see shit like that happen. So the holes that we've had, I think we've kind of filled them in. I'm worried about the depth that we have on the offensive line. If we lose one of the guys to start there, I'm still waiting to see how we look on the defensive front. But our secondary is nice. Our linebacking core is much improved, and I think our defensive line is too.
Philly.500, last day of camp today.
Yeah.
Are you feeling more optimistic about your football team getting to the NFC title game, winning the NFC? Give me, again, last day of training camp. Where are you right now?
I feel very optimistic as a whole for this team. Now, there is one giant thing I'm nervous about, okay? And that is I'm very nervous that we didn't play any starters. I really worry about that going into week 1 versus the Green Bay Packers. But overall, I'm pretty optimistic, because I have a quarterback that can get into certain games, big games, and I know he's capable of playing at the highest level, as where my competitors in the division, well, they don't play so good in big games, and that's like every year. So I feel very optimistic.
You think they win the East?
I think they win the East. I think Washington finishes second, and I think the Eagles win the East. I think NFC Championship game to me is like, if they're not there, I'm going to be upset. I think they should at least be able to get to the championship game.
Mark, how far in the playoffs?
Prepare to be upset then, Philly. Bro, you're taking a step back,
We'll
buddy.
see. We'll
taking
see.
a step back.
We'll see. Don't just keep the couch warm. Keep the couch warm.
You can never predict really anything because there's too many variables. I think the Cowboys have the potential to win the division again, even though it is basically like the kiss of death of winning the division the year before. I think the Cowboys still have a chance.
Hey, you can't really count on anything.
I can predict. I can predict one constant. I can predict.
I can say that I feel good about my 8-9 prediction for the Eagles.
I can predict. I can predict that December 1st comes around, Dallas Cowboys will choke the season away. Regardless of where they're at, they will choke. They could go undefeated during the regular season. First round of the playoffs, they're losing because Dak can't win a big game. And that's constant for his whole career.
Mark, where can they find you, Mark?
Oh, Lordy. Anywhere, anytime, any place on JAKIB Sports Report because I show up.
Where are you going? You going to
go to the Improv.
No, going back from the Red Brick House back to Northern Virginia because I got to take my dad to the doctor.
I hope your dad's doing well.
That's all right with you?
Yeah, all good, man. I hope
your father.
I'm responsible for a lot of people out here, bro.
All right. My father, Teresa.
Give him an award.
God bless your dad here. Philly.500, where can they find you?
Just type in Philly.500. I ain't going to tell you how great I am and I'm doing this for the whole world.
You suck.
Just come and let's watch the football. Let's go.
Just because you're not good. You suck.
I'm an evil man. I'm an evil man. But take your medicine today, Mark. You took it. You took it,
Hey,
right? That's
you
right.
guys are great. I appreciate it.
Vitamin Philly.
Bro, don't let the
Vitamin
Cowboys
Philly.
get on top because I'm gonna ride the fuck out of you guys.
Oh boy, nobody's scared of that. Go sign your receiver. Go sign your players.
All right,
Go sign
guys.
your
That would be
players.
nice.
I appreciate it, man. Thank you guys very much, man. That was good. That was very good. You guys. Hey, I'll tell you what, man. The hatred for Cowboys and Eagles, it lives. It's a real thing, dude. All right. Hey, do me a favor. Yeah, Mark was going through a drive-through. Hey, look at this here, man. Hold on here. DFW. Eagles are trash. Overrated as usual. ESPN props the Eagles up like they're going to go to the Super Bowl. Don't choke, Eagles, with all those expectations. Woo! Holy shit. All right, man. Guys, where are we on the like list? Johnny, that was awesome. I agree with you. These guys went back and forth well. Maybe it was because I was better prepared. Where are we on the like list right now? Fantastic stuff, guys. Xander Krause is going to join us too, by the way, at the bottom of the hour, 4:30 Eastern. Hey, and I think there's a special Birds 365 up. Okay? Hey, Prince, I'll get to your dumb ass when I come out of the timeout. Where are you? I'll get to your dumb ass. He didn't go to the Super Bowl. Overrated. Overrated. Jimmy Garoppolo got to a Super Bowl, dickhead. Is he in Jalen Hurts' league too? Or Jake Delhomme? No, I got it. Sexy Rexy Grossman and Jalen Hurts have been to Super Bowls. What a group. Rex Grossman and Hurts have been to Super Bowls. How you doing? According to Prince, Dan Marino, who's been only to one, blows. Or like Phillip Rivers sucks. Okay. Yeah. Oh, I got it. Dude, Tom Brady said Allen's the second best quarterback in the National Football League. Prince hates him. Oh. Hey, I'm going to go with the GOAT. Hit the like button. Keep it here, National Football Show.
If you missed any of today's show on the JAKIB Media channel, listen to the podcast on your way home. Available on YouTube, Apple, and Spotify.